you asked me about 6 months ago whether I was a morning person, I would probably laugh. I had no routine whatsoever before, and that really impacted my physical, spiritual, and emotional health. I was someone that would wake up at irregular times. I was not connecting well with God and people. I was not eating very well, and I had stopped working out completely. I was really out of sync for a while. But how did I get there in the first place? Well, let me give you some context. I graduated from uni in April of this year. I got baptized, moved across the country, started a 3-month accounting program at U of T, started dating my amazing boyfriend, traveled for a month in Europe, moved into my first real apartment with my friend, started a full-time job, and all that happened within a span of 6 months. It was a lot. I'm sure many of us will or have gone through periods of tremendous change, but how do you get back on track when you're out of sync? Humans are creatures of habits. We can only accept a certain level of discomfort and displacement before we feel out of sync completely. I'm talking physical, spiritual, emotional displacement. I was most certainly not my healthiest self in September, October, and even parts of November. But I learned from the word that we are called to be self-disciplined. It's not a nice to have, it's a requirement.
It's not fair.
In my personal journey, I've been wrestling a lot with the concept of love. I've always wanted to love my friends and family to the depths of my knowledge, but something always held me back. It was myself. You see, love is a practice, a choice. I always thought you just feel love, it just stays there forever. How can you love your brother or sister, your mom, dad, spouse when you're angry and annoyed? It takes discipline. You need discipline in your thoughts and actions in order to love through those hurdles. It takes discipline to be slow to anger, slow to speak, quick to listen. And that goes against our human nature. I really struggled with these areas in my life because I lacked discipline intrinsically. And this was just magnified in my external day-to-day actions. For example, my inability to diligently go to bed when I told myself to. My inability to control my eating or find motivation to get up and exercise or to work hard. Those were just symptoms of a deeper problem rooted within me. Scripture really helped unlock a lot of truth in my character, guiding me to be someone who is now more disciplined and committed to getting good rest, finding intentionality with God and other relationships, prioritizing eating better, exercising, being more productive. And I still struggle and wrestle with it. And I know you might have experienced this too, whether it is now, in the past, or something that creeps into your life. And you're not alone. We're going to have great spurts in life, but we're also going to experience relapses. But I think the great thing about a journey is that it's ongoing. I came to learn that self-discipline comes from prioritizing and focusing on spiritual health first, and that everything else follows. There's a scripture that I love. It says, "For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline." That really takes the onus off of ourselves to try and be perfect when, we really can't be. And that has really helped guide my thoughts and actions. But in terms of my day-to-day and what that looks like, I'm definitely much more of a morning bird as opposed to a night owl. I like to start the day off early, have my quiet times, and then get a good workout in before I start work. I just like to have that quiet time for myself. After work, that's when I shut off my computer and can be fully present with other people and not feel like I still need to do things for myself. I can just focus that time on others. That has worked the best for me. But of course, there is no right or wrong answer as to when you should do certain things. Everyone has a different circadian cycle, and so you gotta figure out where you're most productive, at what time of the day, and then you can prioritize from there. I recently moved from Vancouver to Toronto, and so that's why I'm making a switch now. The person I was seeing, she can't practice in Toronto. I think one of my goals is to be proactive rather than reactive with therapy.
Lazy Sunday mornings, hiding under covers. I don't mind staying in with you. Play your favorite movie, laying right beside me. I don't mind when it's just us two. That corner coffee shop we like to go. Late night walks with you to take me home. With you I never feel alone.
These little songs make me glad to call you mine. And you have got my head in the clouds.
1, 2, 3. All that I need is your body next to me on rainy days. Just need your company, don't need too much. Just your simple love and it's everything. The simple joy of hearing your voice every morning. I wake to a kiss on my face, so I don't need too much. Just your simple love and it's everything.
Alright, got my heater, heat pack. Had a really busy day at work today. I got off at around 5:30 or 6, 5:30-ish, 6. Came home, cooked some dinner, and then I watched the reunion Love is Blind with Megan. I swear I'm not like an ambassador for them. It's just, it's one of those shows where it's really fun to watch. Good morning. I'm trying to drink more water each day. one and a half of these, and then I also have like 2 cups of coffee, so lots of liquids. In the evenings, sometimes I like to drink carbonated water, bubbly. I might have like a Coke. I've been trying to cut down on the Coke though. I really don't need it, but after a couple of days of working out and waking up really early and going into the office, I feel just exhausted. So I had plans to do a workout this morning, but I was sore. I'm using a heat pack right now. My body was screaming at me, telling me to just sleep in, and so I was in bed until like 7:30. So it was nice to just take the morning slow. I also, yesterday, Xander surprised me with this. It is a Nespresso Advent, and each day you open up one. Today's day 1. I'm gonna open this guy up. Later tonight we have a Christmas firm party. Well, it's more like EY private. We don't have a firm-wide party this year. It'll be nice to just socialize and see people in a different setting outside of the office. It's been a pretty busy week at work. The days just fly by, and so it's so important to constantly remind ourselves, like, hey, we need to remember why we're doing things. Like, time just flies by. It's already December. People, especially in professional services, like in accounting, consulting, you hear about the rigorous lifestyle, and people are always just saying, yep, we're just gonna do this for a year or 2, you know, build up that credibility, and then I'm gonna exit. And so it's a short-term type of goal. So when we think in those sprints, obviously we're doing things that are not very sustainable. We might be overworking ourselves because we're convincing ourselves that it's only a short-term thing. Say you do this for the rest of your life, you're always thinking in short-term sprints, then you never find rest. I hope today onwards I can continue to live out a life that is sustainable and isn't always so short-term thinking. And I'll dive into that more in the future too, especially as I go into busy season with work. I know it can be really difficult balancing a sustainable lifestyle when you're constantly swamped with deadlines. There's a lot of pressure, but I truly believe that God put me here and put me in this role to persevere and to really learn some very important lessons about setting up boundaries, being sustainable, and also learning to break away from groupthink mindset. It is very normalized in professional services to overwork for the sake of progressing your career. I know I'm going to be constantly forced to remind myself and to be reminded from others that work is not everything. And I say this now but sometimes my actions will not reflect that. Sharing this to kind of keep myself accountable and also to hopefully encourage some of you that are also in a similar boat. Really assess what's important in your life and to think about those boundaries and priorities. There's no one to really define that for you. And so, yeah, I know that got pretty deep real quick, but that's a great way to start off the morning. So I'm gonna go make myself a cup of coffee. It is a beautiful sunny day, and I'll give you a little glimpse of that.
What's inside?
Turkey and cheese and veggies, avocado, and then my lentil stew.
Oh, it looks good. Crunchy. They're bread. Is it from like just supermarket or from specialty store?
Just a supermarket.
Net brand.
I don't know. It's a healthy one though. Normally it's 2 loaves for like $12, but it's half off.
Oh, it's like grilled cheese.
Hi. So I'm about to hop into a meeting with Matt McDonald. He's one of the admissions team leads for the GDIP program. So we're going to be talking about the panel. And I'm late, so hi everyone.
What I'm thinking for Tuesday, coming up with 3 to 5 questions. I would put those questions in writing and send them to you by the end of the day today, so that you have the next few days to think about how you would want to answer those questions.
Walking to the market, strolling hand in hand, exchanging letters.
He played a downgrade card on himself.
Yes. It was soft. Let's keep it soft.
Day I'll do anything to get your attention. When you say you love me, I seem to ascend to the heavens above, where we fall in love. I don't know what I would do without you, because I